It's been a great partnership to be able to set up this event together, and I think this is something that we expect to do for the next several years, so we're hopeful of a very long-term partnership. My name, as Alice has mentioned, is Nicolas Aguzin. I'm the CEO of JPMorgan for Asia Pacific. I'm most commonly known as Gucho, so same person, Nicolas Aguzin, Gucho, same person, it's me. JPMorgan is very proud of our long history and association with Asia, which dates back over 140 years. Actually, in places like Hong Kong, we started in 1924. We've been present in China since 1921. And today we have a presence in 16 markets, and that represents over 40 cities across all of Asia Pacific. During the last 100 years, JPMorgan has evolved in step with the region's markets and with our clients, and we're very proud to have helped with the growth and development of Asia Pacific's corporations, the economies, and its financial markets. We have all witnessed countries across the Asia Pacific region experience tremendous growth as a result of the industrialization, urbanization, and technological advancements. In some cases, this rapid growth has created interesting challenges around infrastructure, skills, as well as social and environmental dilemmas. At JPMorgan, we take a long view on our investments and commitments to our clients, to our stakeholders, and to our communities. And this partnership with the Asia Society Hong Kong is part of that long-term commitment to explore ways in which we can maintain the economic growth and competitive advantage of cities and countries across Asia, whilst continuing to nurture and invest in skills, innovations, and capabilities to ensure that growth and sustainability is not a zero-sum game, that growth is responsible and sustainable. I am delighted to welcome also Peter Scher, Head of Corporate Responsibility at JPMorgan Chase, to this inaugural symposium to tell us more about JPMorgan's corporate responsibility agenda. Peter.
Thank you, Nicholas, and Alice, thank you. We're really pleased to be here. Very soon after Nicholas became our Chairman CEO for the Asia Pacific, he said we need to do more with the Asia Society. So today's launch is the fruits of his ideas and his foresight, and we couldn't be more pleased and grateful, Alice, to you and to Ronnie Chan and Penny Tang and her team for pulling together this program. For JPMorgan, the opportunity to work with partners like the Asia Society to bring together an event like this reflects not only our long-standing commitment to this region, but also work that we do in communities around the world. And now Hong Kong, like so many cities, today faces many of the same pressures as they did a century ago when we first started doing business here. But today they're facing those pressures in a world that is much more connected and in which the competition for both capital and talent is that much greater. And it's also a period of time in which the fiscal and political challenges that many governments face mean the private sector and private enterprise need to step up and take a greater share of the responsibility to help find solutions to many of the challenges that our cities face. One of the things that I get to do in my role as head of corporate responsibility is think about how JPMorgan, with our expertise, our global platform, our connections, and yes, our capital, can be a part of those solutions. We see in our business the trends that globalization are having in reshaping the economic landscape for places like Hong Kong and for other communities around the world. And in fact, Greg Clark, who will be speaking in a little bit on the next panel, will be issuing a report in several weeks as part of our Global Cities Initiative with the Brookings Institution, looking at Hong Kong and the impact that the growth in population is having on cost pressures and on sustainability. And when you think about these pressures, whether it be infrastructure, education, training, housing, healthcare, and economic growth, they're enormous. And again, in a time when the public sector is less able to step up, the private sector needs to do more. And this is one of the things that underlie the development of our Global Cities initiative, to work with communities, work with cities, metropolitan leaders all over the world, most importantly, to help them understand in greater detail and with richer data their competitive and relative strengths, to introduce them to more innovative approaches to attract business and generate economic growth. We think that there's a lot that many cities around the world, including Asia, can learn from Hong Kong, and hopefully the kind of collaboration that these types of initiatives can engender will help lead to that. So we're working with cities throughout the United States, in Europe, in Latin America, and here in Asia, to develop global engagement strategies, to look at export promotion and investment attraction, and in terms of how you fuel economic growth and job creation. One of the key factors that we saw in our work that's critical to a successful global city is a skilled workforce. And it's a challenge that many cities all over the world now face. So late last year, we launched another initiative, a related initiative called New Skills at Work, which is a 5-year, $250 million global effort aimed at trying to close the skills gap. We believe this is the largest private sector initiative aimed at the skills gap ever, and it's trying to address the fact that there are millions of people around the world who are unemployed. At the same time, there are millions of jobs that remain unfilled because people don't have the skills for them. And what's clear, as you know, some of what will be talked about today, cities cannot be competitive in the global economy without a skilled workforce. So what we are trying to do, and today is a great example of that, is bring together an array of stakeholders from the business community, from government, from academia, social service, nonprofits, to help try to tackle these problems. And one of the things that we have seen, and I just would remark on in all of our efforts around the world, is wherever you go, you bring together people who, with divergent backgrounds and sometimes divergent interests, and there's a common interest in coming together to coalesce around their shared desire to improve the economic life of their community. And I think the turnout here today and the program that you've all put together is a great testament to that desire. What underlines all this for our firm, and you in some of the materials you can read about some of our other initiatives, and we will have a new report actually coming out next week about our 2013 agenda. We fundamentally believe that we have a responsibility as a firm to be part of the solution, to try to help address some of the big economic and social and environmental challenges around the world. And we do that not simply because it's the right thing to do, because it is. We do that because the health and the prosperity of places like Hong Kong are critical to our own success as a company. So we are in this together, and that we hope through conversations like this will lead to new strategies that help grow economies and create jobs and more prosperity for more people. So on behalf of all my other colleagues who are here, I want to just thank you all for being here today. It's my pleasure to turn the program over to Trish Suresh, who is the co-editor of the Global City Competitiveness Index, and she's going to introduce our first panel. So thank you again for being here.